Sooners just keep on rolling. They're a perfect 10-0 and are eyeing a program best start. Any chance Jeff Capel's old school could play the role of spoiler? From the Dodge Sports Desk, I'm Jenny Carlson, and this is OU Basketball with John Helsley. John, this is the debut of the show, but the Sooners are well into the season, 10 games in already, and undefeated. Any surprise that they're off to the start that they're off to?
Can I answer yes and no?
Sure.
Yes. This is a team that's really got a lot of new faces, a lot of new people in places, and Jeff Capel's been working to try and figure out what he's got. So I think there's a little bit of surprise there because they've played a sneaky tough schedule with Purdue, Davidson, Stephen Curry with a great game, USC very talented. You might think that somewhere in there they could lose a game. But the flip side of that is they're better than all those teams, and so it's not overly surprising that they are unbeaten right now.
Look into your crystal ball a little bit if you could. How long could this winning streak last? How far could they go into the season undefeated?
Yeah, I looked into this a little bit the other day for a story I wrote for the Advance. I think this could go all the way till to the Big 12 season. I think you've got Texas coming in here at number 17 in the streak if things go as well. They're going to be the favorite in all of these games. So it's just a matter of going out and playing well and getting it done. But I think it could go a while.
Well, we can't go any further in the show without talking about Blake Griffin. The guy just keeps adding to his legend. He does something unbelievable, it seems like, every time out. Last time out, no field goals, and yet he still gets a double-double. I mean, talk about surprises. Have you been surprised at all about how good this guy has been?
I have, partly because, I wasn't on this beat last year. I watched games on TV, saw him once live, so I really wasn't sure. And then the other thing is, you talk to Jeff, he's a lot better player than he was a year ago. So, yeah, he amazes me every night because even when teams do what they did the other day, which was they were not going to let him score a field goal, it just wasn't going to happen. But he does so many other things to impact the game. He has great vision. He's a good passer. He's unselfish. When something happens like it did the other day, he doesn't break down. He doesn't get frustrated and panic. So really a great sign of maturity for him.
I know we're only 10 games into the season, but what kind of superlatives should we start tacking on to Blake Griffin? I mean, Conference Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, first guy taken in the NBA draft. How much should we assign that those grand sort of things to Blake Griffin at this point?
I think all of those are in play. Right now, I'd say he's the favorite for the Conference Player of the Year. You look at the mock drafts, he's the number one. National Player of the Year is going to be interesting. Tyler Hansbrough gets a lot of pub. There's some other guys out there. Stephen Curry's an amazing story. But if Blake can just kind of continue to do what he does and score and rebound, he's got to be right there in the conversation.
Next up for the Sooners, the All-College Classic on Saturday. They play Virginia Commonwealth, Jeff Capel's old team. How fired up is the OU coach about this matchup?
Well, he's trying to downplay it right now. It's his old team. He's not really at all comfortable with this pairing. I think it's tough anytime you go back and play your old school. He's got a lot of friendships still there. A couple of guys that he recruited are still playing for them. But I think he knows that they're going to come in jacked up, and he's going to get his guys ready to go, and it should be a lot of fun, really, in the Ford Center.
Could VCU be the end to this hot start for OU?
Absolutely. This is a good team. It's a team that's favored to win their conference. Eric Maynor is a great player. You look at the mock drafts, he's in there. He's averaging 23.8 points a game, I think. So they're going to face another great player, a good team. Sooners will be favored, but it should be a fun game to watch.
Lastly, the All-College Classic, not the special event that it used to be, but still a nice December game matchup. What's special about this year?
Well, I think one is you've got a special Oklahoma team that has a chance to do something and really go some places. On the flip side, with Oklahoma State, you've got a team that a lot of people are intrigued by because they're playing such a radically new style. So you've got that going in the first game. You've got the Sooners going late with a chance really at doing something, long-term here in the national picture. You've got Blake Griffin, which is something always to go and see. And on the VCU side, you've got Eric Maynor. So I think it sets up as one of the better all-colleges in a while.
And we'll be setting up some special stuff, Wayman Tisdale, and a look at Pete Maravich. So obviously the history of this is long and storied. And John will continue to provide in-depth coverage of the Sooners this weekend in the All-College and beyond. To follow all the news and analysis, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.